So, why do I want to teach and preach on the 7 pillars of financial success? And I guess another question we could ask is, why me? I'm not a financial expert. Other than the fact that when I was in seminary, I had courses on counseling and premarital counseling. And so for 45 years, when couples have come to me to get married, almost everyone expects the pastor to give financial counsel, which I do, to give financial counsel to couples that are coming to being married. So yes, I have read a lot on this, and yes, I have done a lot of counseling in the basic 7 pillars of financial success. But why do I want to teach on it? Because number one, about 50% of couples will end in divorce. 40% of those couples that get divorced, it's because of finances. So if I can save half of the couples that are going to get divorced, that would be nice. About half of the couples that get divorced, which is about half of the people that get married, it's because of finances. So as preachers, the Lord hates divorce. As preachers, I guess this should be addressed since it leads to so much damage, which leads to number 2. I want to prevent fights in your home. By far, the number 1 issue that people fight over in their house is something to do with money and finances. Okay? So, as I drive through this area and I hear you guys fighting in your homes, I want to help you, okay? Number 3, I would like to help believers who are in financial bondage from the enemy. Jesus came to set us free, and I get he has set us free from our sins, but there's financial freedom that you can experience, and there are many people that are in financial bondage, and Satan gets them there. And there's lots of studies, by the way, that for most people in the USA, it's not the income that's the problem. It's how you handle the money once it comes into your life, your home. Number 4, I want to help those struggling financially because the less money you have, the more likely you're going to start tithing to Satan. And what do I mean by that? So the less money you have, the more likely you're going to play the lottery and gamble. So studies show the very people that shouldn't be, they're chasing a fantasy. So when you get into financial trouble and bondage, you begin to see that the only way out is to gamble and to play the lottery. You're like, no one can help me. I'm trapped, and this is my only course of getting financial freedom. And so the poorer you are, you will tithe roughly 10% of your money to the lottery and to casinos and online whatever, okay? I do want you to know that the chances of winning a significant amount in the lottery, you have a 300 greater chance of being struck by lightning than you do at winning it big with the lottery. Does everyone follow that? 300 times more likely for you to be hit with lightning than to win in gambling. Now, I asked this question in the first service. Has anyone ever here been hit with lightning? Lightning? Any? Okay, no one. Believe it or not, we had someone in the first service. So she said, you can share it. So she lived in the Pittsburgh area. It was in 1987. And they had a dog, and the dog chewed through the nylon leash, chewed through the whatever. So they bought a chain to put on the dog. So it was storming. The dog was outside. She went outside, grabbed the dog with the chain, and then she saw a neighbor and decided to say hello to the neighbor. So it was kind of lightning, but it wasn't raining. So as she was going towards the neighbor by a tree, lightning struck. It burned the whole side of her body. It went through the chain. The dog survived. She wound up in the hospital. She did survive. And they said it was lucky she had some kind of somewhat protective shoes on. So I was like, wow. And she said it was in the paper in 1987. So I told her that maybe she should play the lottery. Okay. All right, number 5, I want to bless Christians, if possible, in the area of finances, because studies show that the better you do with finances, the more emotionally healthy you feel. So that what a connection between finances and emotional health. And as a pastor, I want you to be living in joy and feeling good about life and your family, or if you're single, whatever. You're more likely, if you're experiencing financial freedom, you're more likely to give to God and to others. So people that are struggling are pretty much focused on themselves. But when you're experiencing financial freedom, you're like, I can express love to God and to people around the world through missions, and I can be generous to others. And when you're experiencing financial freedom, there are many doors of possibilities that open up to your life. And so I apologize to all of you, because in 13 years I haven't preached this sermon here. I spent 25, 30 years preaching down south of Pittsburgh. I said south, and people came to me, where'd you live down south, Alabama, Mississippi? I was like, I'm in south of Pittsburgh. When I pastored south of Pittsburgh, the average house when we were down there was like $50,000. Definitely financially, a lot of struggle among the people in my churches down there. And so I probably would preach a sermon like this every 5 years. But then Robin and I eventually wound up in this area, and I was like, wow, look at the houses. I mean, the cheapest home up here is $500,000, and people are so educated, finances are flowing. This is one of the wealthiest areas in the whole country, which means it's also one of the wealthiest areas in the whole world. And everyone obviously has it together up here. But now that I've been here 13 years, I realize that I shouldn't have made that assumption, that people get themselves into financial bondage, even in the Cranberry, Mars area as well. So I apologize that for 13 years, I just kind of made this assumption by seeing the area, and now realizing that probably 70% are struggling.